Welcome back, friends. Today we are working on our next portion of the story elements. So we did our story elements overview, our plot maps, characters, setting, point of view, and then today you're going to write conflict on your table of contents, and that is going to be on our next blank page. So go ahead and write conflict, and then on your next blank page write, or whatever your next blank page's number is. So here we have author's point of view. And at the top of my next blank page, I'm going to list conflict. All right. So this is my conflict. When we're talking about conflict, a conflict in a story is the main problem a character is trying to solve. So as always, if you need to press pause because I'm writing too fast, feel free to do so. Oops, we're going to let this try and zoom real quick. And there it goes. Okay, so the main problem a character is trying to solve. This can be anything that a character is trying to overcome. And it can be anything from a big problem to a little problem. You can find the character's problem by listening to how they talk to other characters. You can find it by listening to how they feel about themselves or about what's going on around them. So there's all kinds of different ways to tell the different types of conflict. Now, underneath my definition of conflict, I am going to write a little subheading. Sorry, my brain is really tired. So 4 types of conflict. And I know that's not very centered, so if you want to try and center that a little better, go for it. And then the rest of this paper, I'm going to split into 4 boxes. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. And we're going to give my computer just a second. We're going to actually zoom in. Maybe that'll help us focus. So 4 types of conflict, and we're going to work on these top 2, and then I'll move the box to work on the bottom 2. And I am going to pull up my extra notes right here. So the first type of conflict that we're going to talk about with my handy dandy little orange color so we can keep them all separated is the main character versus themselves. So the main character versus, actually, Mr. Rogge can't spell today either. S-E-L-F, main character versus self. So this is when the main character starts feeling struggles with himself or herself. It doesn't have to be just a him. And they want to change in some ways. The main character wants to change, but they're not sometimes quite sure how. So main character wants to change. All right, and we're going to leave a blank spot right here for examples, and you guys are going to have to come up with and think of some examples when you talk to your teacher about this the next time, and come up with I would actually focus on your Among the Hidden story. What character versus self? Who is wanting to change in our story Among the Hidden? So think about that and be ready to discuss that tomorrow during our class time. The next one is character versus character. All right, so this is when you have 2 characters who are going against each other. So they have a problem with another character. So this would be the entire Avengers team having a problem with Thanos. This would be Snow White and the Evil Queen. The Snow White and the Evil Queen have a problem with each other, and there's a conflict there. They can also disagree on an issue, and it could be mental or physical. And what we mean by that is that maybe the two characters are having a disagreement on ideas. Maybe they're arguing with each other and they're talking, and that would be more of a mental type thing. Or it could be physical, where they actually get physical with one another and they start fighting. Again, you're going to have to come up with some examples. Think about Among the Hidden. Are there any character versus character conflicts in Among the Hidden? So think about that, and then when you're in your next class with your teacher, hopefully they will help you come up with some examples for that there, or you can give them examples for that there. All right, so our next line is going to be character versus nature. This one's a bit interesting. This is the one that you don't see necessarily as often as the rest of them. This is something that's going to be a problem with a force of nature. And in this case, the character has no control. So they have no control beyond of the problem. Uh-oh. Let's hope that it focuses. Give me a second. Oh, there it goes. Okay. So no control of the problem. So for example, this would be a character that fights a tornado. Well, maybe not fighting a tornado, but cleans up after a tornado. That would be a better one. Tornado. Or another example would be like a hurricane. So a hurricane would be a force of nature that a character has no control over, but sometimes that hurricane causes a problem that the character then has to solve. So think of any other examples that you can present to your teacher in your next class period. And that way, maybe you have some extra ideas and you can share them with your teacher in your class. All right, and our fourth and final type of conflict is character versus society. All right, so character versus society. So this involves a struggle. Involves the struggle between the character and the laws or rules that govern society. So again, you're going to come up with some examples, and this time I want you to go back to thinking about Among the Hidden, and is there any example of a character versus society struggle or conflict in Among the Hidden? And if there is, what is the character, or who is the character fighting against? So here again, I'm going to zoom out of this so you guys can see a little bit better. So we have our 4 types of conflict. Once again, it is the main problem that a character is trying to solve. We have our character versus self, so that is a character versus him or herself and how they want to change. You have a character versus character. This is the most common kind. This is a character who has to fight another character, either mentally or physically, to solve the problem. There's character versus nature, so it's a character trying to face or solve a problem that they have no control over. And then character versus society, which is going to be a character that is trying to fight the power and try to make things better for themselves or the people around them. You have a couple of examples for character versus nature, but you need to be thinking of examples for character versus self, character versus character, and character versus society that you can share with your class and your teacher whenever you come to class next. And you can choose any book, but I would really suggest that you focus on and think about Among the Hidden for these extra examples so that you can come up with some ideas there.